What if the only thing standing between you and everything you've ever dreamed of is you? I know it sounds strange, but think about it. How many times have you felt stuck? Like no matter how hard you try, things just don't move. You put in the work, you hustle, you push yourself, but somehow it still feels like you're not getting anywhere. Have you ever stopped to wonder why that is? The truth is, it's not the world holding you back. It's not the people around you. It's not even your circumstances. It's how much you've been focusing on everything except yourself. You've been so focused on pleasing others, meeting their expectations, trying to fit into their version of what success looks like. But here's the hard truth. As long as you keep chasing someone else's vision, you'll never reach your full potential. You will always fall short because you're running a race that's not even meant for you. And deep down, you know it. That's why you feel like something's missing. That's why it feels like you're constantly giving, but never truly growing. You've been giving away your energy, your time, your heart to things and people that drain you instead of fueling you. But what if you flip that? What if instead of looking outward, you decided to turn the focus inward? What if you chose starting today to focus entirely on yourself? Not in a selfish way, but in a way that empowers you to become the best version of who you are meant to be. Imagine what would happen if you put all that energy into your growth. If you finally made yourself the priority, that's when things start to change. That's when you stop just surviving and start truly thriving. When you shift your focus onto yourself, everything changes. The noise quiets down and you begin to hear your own voice again. You begin to listen to your own needs, your own dreams, your own desires. You stop being distracted by the chaos around you, and instead you find clarity. You realize that the only validation you need is your own. The only approval that matters is from the person who looks back at you in the mirror. I know it's scary. I know it feels easier to stay in your comfort zone, to keep pleasing others, to keep avoiding the discomfort of taking control of your own life. But ask yourself this. What do you really want? Is it a life of living for others, always wondering if you're enough? Or do you want a life where you're in the driver's seat, where your choices are your own, where you get to define your success? The only way to shock the world is by first shocking yourself. When you start to focus on yourself, not only do you take back control, but you also begin to unlock a version of you that no one saw coming. The truth is, the world is waiting for the real you to show up. The person who isn't afraid to take up space, to stand tall, to shine without apology. And once you step into that power, everything around you begins to change. People notice, opportunities appear, you become unstoppable. But none of this will happen if you don't start now. You have the power within you to transform your life, but it all begins with one simple decision, focusing on yourself. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop waiting for permission and finally start living for you? The journey to becoming the person who will shock everyone starts right here, right now. Keep watching, and let's take that first step together. When you finally commit to focusing on yourself, that's like a switch flips in your mind. You start seeing everything differently. The noise from the outside world fades, and all you hear is your own heartbeat, your own desires, your own truth. And that truth is powerful. It's the voice that's been drowned out for too long by the opinions and judgments of others. But once you make the decision to listen, to really hear what you want, that's when you step into your true power. The fear of judgment has held so many people back, far more than you realize. It's a silent killer of dreams. The thought of what others might think, of not measuring up to their expectations can paralyze you. But here's the harsh reality. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves to pay much attention to what you're doing. The weight of their opinions isn't yours to carry. And when you finally let go of that fear, something incredible happens. You become free. Free to pursue your dreams, free to be who you truly are without second-guessing yourself at every turn. Psychologically, when we let go of the fear of judgment, we gain a sense of freedom that is unlike anything else. You stop seeking approval from people who may not even understand your journey. You stop apologizing for the path you're taking, and instead, you begin walking with purpose, knowing that every step is your own. This shift is a game changer. People will start to notice the confidence you exude, and they won't be able to help but admire it. When you stop being held back by the opinions of others, you unlock a new level of self-worth. You begin to believe deep down that you are worthy of your dreams, your goals, your success. And that belief isn't just some passing thought. It's a foundation that supports every action you take. The more you focus on yourself, the more you align your actions with your values, the stronger you become. You stop doubting your abilities. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into other people's ideas of who you should be. Imagine what would happen if, instead of worrying about fitting in, you decided to stand out. Imagine giving yourself permission to stop playing small, to stop hiding your greatness, just because someone might think you're too much or too different. The world needs people who are unapologetically themselves. People who aren't afraid to rise, who aren't afraid to take risks, who aren't afraid to fail because they know failure is just part of the journey. And in that space of authenticity, you will become magnetic. People will start gravitating towards your energy because they can sense something they've been missing in themselves. The courage to be real. By focusing on yourself, you create an environment for growth that nothing can shake. You start to believe in your own potential, and that belief is contagious. Others will see your transformation, and in the process, they will begin to wonder, what is it about them that's so different? What have they figured out that I haven't? And that, my friend, is where the shock begins. You will become the person others talk about in awe, not because you seek their approval, but because you've chosen to be the best version of yourself. You've chosen to stop playing the role that others assign to you, and instead, you've become the hero of your own story. The most powerful people in this world didn't get there by worrying about what others thought of them. They got there by committing to themselves, by focusing on their growth, and by relentlessly pursuing their vision no matter how difficult it was, and so can you. But it starts with one simple step, deciding that you are worthy of everything you dream of. Once you make that choice, you'll see the world open up to you in ways you never imagined. And every person who doubted you, every person who thought you couldn't, will be left in awe of your journey. The best part? You'll be just getting started. The moment you decide to focus on yourself, you realize something profound. Everything you've been waiting for is already inside you. It's not out there in the world, not in someone else's approval, not in some distant future moment when the stars align. No, it's within you waiting to be uncovered. All the potential, all the strength, all the courage has been there all along, buried beneath the layers of doubt, fear, and uncertainty. But once you turn the focus inward, you start to awaken it piece by piece. The beautiful thing about personal growth is that it doesn't have to be a grand, overwhelming transformation all at once. It starts small. Every little decision you make to invest in yourself, whether it's showing up for your goals, taking care of your mind, or choosing to learn something new, it all compounds. Day by day, you get a little stronger. You get a little wiser. And before you know it, you're not the same person you were when you started. You've evolved. This transformation doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of a conscious decision, a commitment to never stop growing. People often look at others who have succeeded and think when they were lucky. But the truth is, success doesn't come from luck. It comes from relentless, consistent effort. It comes from getting up every single day and choosing to be better than you were yesterday. It's a process, and it's never easy. But if you're willing to focus on yourself, to invest in your own growth, you'll begin to see just how powerful you really are. The world doesn't need another copy of someone else. It needs the real you. The version of you that dares to step into the unknown, that chooses to be authentic in a world that constantly tries to make you conform. When you focus on yourself, you stop trying to fit in someone else's mold, and instead you create your own. You realize that the only person you need to compete with is the person you were yesterday. And when you shift your focus from pleasing others to pleasing yourself, something incredible happens. You start to attract everything you've ever wanted. Opportunities show up, people start to take notice, and you begin to realize that the life you've been dreaming of was always possible. You just had to start with the right mindset. This is the moment when you start to shock the world, not because you're doing something extraordinary, but because you're becoming something extraordinary. People will see the transformation and they'll wonder, what happened to them? They won't recognize the person who used to doubt themselves, who used to play small. And that's exactly the point. The person who doubts and holds back isn't who you are anymore. You are someone who's committed to their own growth. You are someone who faces challenges head on, who pushes through even when it gets tough. And let's be honest, there will be challenges. There will be times when you feel like giving up, when the world tries to drag you back into old habits, old mindsets. But remember this, growth never comes from staying comfortable. You want to shock the world, if you want to rise to your full potential, you have to push through those moments. You have to embrace the discomfort, the struggle, because that's where the real transformation happens. The version of you that emerges on the other side will be unrecognizable to the person who started this journey. You'll be stronger. You'll be bolder. You'll be more capable than you ever imagined. And when you step into that power, you'll realize something even more profound. When you focus on yourself, the world doesn't just notice you. It starts to align itself with your purpose. Everything falls into place because you've become the person who can handle it all. The world is waiting for you to step up. And once you do, everything will change. Not just for you, but for everyone who's been watching you. Because when you shock yourself, you have the power to shock the world. When you start focusing on yourself, you unlock the most powerful resource you'll ever have, discipline. It's not about being motivated every day. It's about showing up even on the days when you don't feel like it, even when the world feels heavy. Discipline is the secret weapon that transforms dreams into reality. Motivation can be fleeting, but discipline, it's a constant. It's the force that drives you forward, no matter what obstacles come your way. What many don't realize is that discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Every small action you take, every time you resist the urge to quit, you're strengthening your ability to keep going. It's easy to make excuses, to fall into the trap of thinking that the conditions aren't right or that you're not ready yet. But the truth is, you'll never feel ready. There's no perfect moment to start. The key is to begin now, to take action, no matter how small, and to make it a habit. Because once you build the habit of doing what's necessary, even when it's hard, you begin to see results. You start achieving things you once thought impossible. Think about this. Every successful person you admire, every person who has achieved greatness, they didn't get there because they waited for the perfect opportunity. They got there because they disciplined themselves to keep pushing forward day after day, even when no one was watching, even when they were exhausted, even when they doubted themselves. They understood that success wasn't about waiting for a sign. It was about making the choice to keep going, regardless of how they felt in the moment. When you commit to yourself and build discipline, you stop being a slave to your emotions. You stop letting temporary feelings dictate your future. Instead, you develop the strength to take consistent action, even when your mind is telling you to give up. And that's when the magic happens. The more you focus on doing the things that matter, the more your life begins to shift. Goals that once seemed out of reach start to become within your grasp. You find yourself achieving things you never thought you could, but it doesn't end there. Discipline leads to confidence. The more you show up for yourself, the more you prove to yourself that you're capable of achieving anything. Every goal you hit, every challenge you conquer, adds another layer of belief in your own abilities. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop looking for permission or waiting for someone else to validate your worth. You become your own biggest supporter, your own loudest cheerleader. And that confidence doesn't just stay inside you, it radiates out. People start to notice. They see the fire in your eyes, the strength in your posture, and the certainty in your actions. What starts as a quiet inner transformation eventually becomes an external force that can't be ignored. You'll start to shock people, not because you're trying to impress them, but because your discipline, your consistency, your unwavering belief in yourself will speak volumes. The person you once were, the person who struggled to stay motivated, will be a distant memory. You'll have become someone who gets things done, who faces challenges head on, who knows that nothing can stop them. The world won't know what hit it. Because when you choose to focus on yourself, when you commit to building the discipline that shapes your future, you become unstoppable. Every action you take builds momentum. Every day you show up for yourself, you move closer to your goals, and soon you'll look back and realize that the person who was once unsure, the person who felt like they couldn't see, has turned into someone who is breaking barriers, someone who is making the impossible seem easy. The journey is tough, but the rewards, they are unimaginable. And you're just getting started. The moment you truly focus on yourself, you begin to see the world through a different lens. No longer are you a passive observer, waiting for something outside of you to change. You realize that you are the creator of your reality. Your actions, your mindset, your choices, these are the forces that shape the life you lead. This is not just a small shift. This is a fundamental change in how you approach everything. One of the most powerful realizations you'll experience is that nothing will change until you do. This is the turning point for so many people. The moment they stop blaming their circumstances, their upbringing, or anyone else for where they are in life. Instead of pointing fingers, they turn inward and take responsibility for their own path. It's empowering because once you accept that you are the architect of your life, the weight of the world no longer feels heavy. You realize that every decision, every action, and every thought has the power to move you closer to the life you desire. This doesn't mean that challenges will disappear. It doesn't mean that life will suddenly become easy. But what it does mean is that you gain the strength to face those challenges head on. You develop resilience. And when you develop resilience, you stop being afraid of obstacles. You stop seeing them as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunities to grow, to test your limits, to prove to yourself just how capable you really are. When you focus on yourself, you begin to realize that every obstacle, every setback is simply a part of your journey, not the end of it. Life isn't trying to break you. It's trying to shape you, to mold you into the person who is strong enough to handle your dreams. The challenges are there to teach you, to make you tougher, wiser, and more resourceful. Each hurdle you face becomes a lesson in how to be better, how to rise higher, how to push through, even when things feel impossible. And with every challenge you conquer, you build an unshakable belief in your own strength. This belief becomes your superpower. It gives you the courage to keep going when others might give up. It drives you to push past your comfort zone and take risks, even when failure seems like a possibility. Because the truth is, failure isn't something to fear. It's a part of the process. It's a stepping stone to success. It's the evidence that you are trying, that you are growing, that you are moving towards something greater. And when you start to see failure as part of the journey rather than something to avoid, you stop being afraid of taking bold action. As you continue focusing on yourself, you begin to discover the power of self-compassion. It's not about being perfect, about getting everything right. It's about showing up even when you're scared. It's about doing the work even when it's hard. And most importantly, it's about forgiving yourself when things don't go according to plan. We all make mistakes. We all have moments of doubt, but those moments don't define us. What defines us is the decision to keep going, to get back up, and to keep working toward the person we know we are meant to be. When you embrace this mindset, you become unstoppable. Your growth becomes inevitable. And with every step you take, you become more aligned with the person you've always dreamed of becoming. People will start to notice this shift. They'll see the fire in your eyes, the confidence in your stride, the way you carry yourself as someone who is destined for greatness. They won't see the person they once knew. They'll see a version of you that is stronger, more focused, and more powerful than they ever expected. And in that moment, they'll realize that your transformation wasn't about anyone else. It was about you choosing to focus on yourself, to invest in your growth, and to become the best version of who you were always meant to be. This is your time. The world is waiting for the person you're about to become. The question is, will you rise to meet it? Will you step into your power and show the world just how capable you are? The choice is yours, and it all begins with focusing on yourself. When you begin to realize that you are the one who holds the key to your own success, everything starts to shift. No longer do you see yourself as a passive observer waiting for opportunities to knock. Instead, you start creating your own opportunities. You stop waiting for someone to hand you permission, and you take control of your own destiny. This shift in mindset is the game changer. It's the moment when you stop asking why things aren't happening for you, and you start asking, how can I make this happen? This is the power of ownership, the realization that you are responsible for your life, the highs and the lows, the wins and the losses. It's a powerful, sometimes intimidating truth, but it's the truth that will set you free. Once you own your journey, you stop playing the victim. You stop blaming circumstances, other people, or the world for your struggles. You stop making excuses. Instead, you take full responsibility for your life, for your choices, and for your future. And when you do that, you unlock a force inside you that is unstoppable. When you own your life, you stop allowing external factors to control your emotions and actions. You stop waiting for validation from others. Instead, you look inward for your sense of worth, your sense of direction, your sense of purpose. This shift in focus is everything. You stop waiting for approval, for someone to give you permission to go after your dreams. You stop asking for permission to live your life the way you want to. You realize that the only approval you need is your own. This kind of ownership doesn't just change your mindset, it changes the way you live. It changes the way you act. You stop settling for less than you deserve, and you start demanding more from yourself. You start setting boundaries, saying no to things that don't serve your growth, and saying yes to the things that move you closer to your goals. You stop letting distractions, doubts, and fears hold you back. You begin to make decisions with clarity and confidence, knowing that your actions are creating the life you've always wanted. When you truly focus on yourself, you stop chasing after things that don't matter. You stop wasting your time on distractions that drain your energy and keep you from your purpose. You start to value your time more, understanding that every moment is an opportunity to move closer to the life you deserve. Your energy becomes more precious and you begin to invest it only in things, people, and experiences that elevate you. You learn to protect your peace, to prioritize your mental health, and to nurture your growth with intention. But here's the thing. The more you focus on yourself, the more you start to see the world open up to you. The opportunities, the people, the experiences you've always wanted begin to come into focus. Why? Because the energy you put out into the world is the energy you attract. When you focus on your growth, on your inner strength, and on your personal evolution, you become magnetic. You attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances into your life because you're operating at a higher frequency. When you own your journey, you stop second-guessing yourself. You stop looking for outside validation. You stop seeking approval from those who don't understand your vision. You become self-sufficient, not just in your actions, but in your mindset. You stop measuring your worth based on what others think of you, and you start measuring it based on the person you're becoming. And that person, they're unstoppable. The truth is, there is nothing more powerful than someone who owns their life, someone who is unapologetic about their goals, their dreams, and their worth, someone who is not afraid to step into their power and say, this is who I am, and this is what I deserve. And that person is you. All it takes is a shift in focus, a commitment to owning your life, your choices, and your future. And once you do that, you'll be amazed at how everything begins to fall into place. Your life will never be the same. Once you step into your own power, you realize that everything in your life begins to shift. What once felt impossible becomes achievable. What once seemed out of reach now feels within grasp. This is the incredible power of self-focus. It not only transforms how you see yourself, but also how you see the world around you. When you start making decisions with purpose, when you begin to align your actions with your true desires, the universe begins to respond in kind. It's as if the world starts working in your favor. Opportunities present themselves, and paths that once seemed blocked begin to open up. This is not coincidence. This is the result of you aligning yourself with the energy of your dreams. When you focus on yourself, when you prioritize your growth and development, you send a signal to the world that you are ready for more. You start to attract the things you've always wanted because you stop settling for less. You begin to believe that you are worthy of greatness. And when you believe this, everything shifts. The beauty of this process is that it doesn't require perfection. You don't need to have everything figured out to start. All it takes is the willingness to take the first step, to show up for yourself day after day, and to trust that the journey will unfold as it should. Growth doesn't happen overnight, but with every decision you make to invest in yourself, you build momentum. With each day you choose to move forward, no matter how small the step, you move closer to the person you are meant to become. People around you will start to notice. They won't see the person you used to be, the person who doubted themselves or played small. They'll see the person who is stepping into their full potential, the person who is taking charge of their life with unshakable confidence. And that is when you start to shock the world, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because your transformation is undeniable. This shift isn't just about external validation or approval from others. It's about something deeper, something more profound. It's about becoming the person who doesn't need anyone else to tell them their worth. It's about standing firm in your own power and knowing that you are worthy of everything you desire. When you reach that level of self-belief, nothing can stop you. No obstacle, no challenge, no setback can hold you back. You've tapped into something stronger than any external circumstance, your own inner strength. As you continue to focus on yourself, you'll notice that your confidence grows. You'll stop second-guessing yourself. You'll stop asking for permission or waiting for someone to approve your dreams. You'll realize that your dreams are yours to create and that you have everything inside you to bring them to life. And when that realization hits, there's no turning back. You'll become unstoppable. The energy you put into yourself is never wasted. Every hour you spend working on your goals, every moment you spend building your discipline, every challenge you face and overcome, these are the building blocks of your success. They add up, they compound. And before you know it, you've become the person who not only dreams big, but makes those dreams a reality. You've become the person who shocks the world, not by trying to impress anyone, but by simply living in alignment with who you truly are and the life you truly deserve. The truth is, the world is waiting for you to step into your power. The people who once doubted you, the people who told you it couldn't be done, they'll watch in awe as you become the person you were always meant to be. And in the process, you'll inspire others to do the same. You'll show them that it's possible to transform, to rise above the challenges, and to live a life of purpose and fulfillment. You'll show them that when you focus on yourself, you don't just change your own life, you change the world around you. When you decide to focus on yourself, something remarkable happens. You begin to realize just how much you've been holding back, how much potential you've been leaving untapped. It's as if a door opens inside you and you start to see all the possibilities you once thought were out of reach. This isn't about becoming someone else or changing who you are. It's about unlocking the version of yourself that's been waiting to emerge. The version of you who believes in their worth. The version of you who takes action even when the path is unclear. There's a power that comes from realizing that you have everything inside you to create the life you desire. It's the power of belief, of knowing that you are worthy, capable, and deserving of success. This belief doesn't come from external sources. It doesn't come from approval or validation from others. It comes from within you. When you begin to focus on yourself, when you start prioritizing your growth, you activate that belief. It becomes the foundation of everything you do. And once you have this belief, it changes the way you see the world. It changes the way you approach your goals. You stop waiting for permission. You stop doubting your worth. You stop letting fear dictate your actions. Instead, you take control. You make decisions that align with your values, your dreams, and your vision for your future. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I succeed? This shift in mindset is everything. It's the key to unlocking your full potential. Because when you believe that success is possible, when you believe that you are worthy of achieving it, you begin to act differently. You start to take bold steps. You stop hesitating. You stop making excuses. It's easy to get caught up in the opinions of others. We've all been there looking for validation, seeking approval, wondering if we're good enough. But when you focus on yourself, you realize that none of that matters. The only opinion that counts is your own. You don't need anyone else to tell you what you're capable of. You don't need anyone else to tell you that you're on the right track. You just need to trust yourself. Trust that you are capable. Trust that you are worthy of success. Trust that your dreams are within your reach. And when you trust yourself, something extraordinary happens. You stop second-guessing your decisions. You stop wasting time on things that don't serve you. You start to prioritize your goals, your growth, and your future. You begin to make decisions that move you closer to where you want to be, not further away. Every step you take becomes a step toward the life you've always dreamed of. And with every step, your confidence grows. The more you focus on yourself, the more you realize that your success doesn't depend on anyone else. It doesn't depend on your circumstances. It doesn't depend on luck. It depends on you. The actions you take, the decisions you make, the mindset you cultivate, these are the things that will determine your success. And when you realize that, you stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop waiting for things to be just right. You start taking action even when it's messy, even when it's imperfect, because you know that taking imperfect action is better than doing nothing at all. You'll start to notice something powerful. The more you show up for yourself, the more others begin to take notice. Your energy shifts. Your confidence becomes undeniable. People start to see you as someone who is serious about their goals, someone who is committed to their success. And as you continue on this journey, you'll realize that the world begins to open up to you. Opportunities appear where there once were none. Doors open, doors you never thought you'd have access to. This is what happens when you focus on yourself. You don't just change your own life, you change the way the world responds to you. But none of this is possible if you don't believe in yourself first. None of this is possible if you don't commit to focusing on your growth, to becoming the best version of who you are. The moment you make that choice, the moment you decide that you are worthy of everything you've ever dreamed of, that is when everything begins to change. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because when you focus on yourself, you unleash a power within you that is unstoppable. And that power will carry you further than you ever imagined. As you continue to focus on yourself, a remarkable shift begins to take place. It's not just about seeing the world differently. It's about seeing yourself differently. The doubts that once held you back begin to dissolve. The fears that once crippled you begin to fade into the background. You stop seeing challenges as obstacles and start seeing them as opportunities for growth. You stop waiting for everything to be perfect before taking action, and instead you take imperfect steps toward your goals. And in those steps, you find strength. The beauty of focusing on yourself is that it builds a momentum that's unstoppable. The more you invest in your growth, the more you realize that the only thing standing between you and your dreams is the belief that you can achieve them. Once that belief clicks, everything changes. You stop questioning whether you're good enough. You stop wondering if you can do it, without a doubt that you can. And that belief is contagious. It spreads through everything you do. It becomes a part of you. When you focus on yourself, you stop looking outside for answers. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop measuring your progress against someone else's timeline. You realize that your path is unique, that your success doesn't look like anyone else's, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be. You stop looking for shortcuts and easy wins because you understand that real growth comes from hard work, dedication, and persistence. The more you invest in yourself, the more you begin to trust the process. You realize that success isn't an overnight event. It's the result of consistent effort. And every step you take, no matter how small, moves you closer to the person you are becoming. The most powerful thing about focusing on yourself is that you stop relying on external circumstances to define your happiness. Your happiness no longer depends on someone else's opinion, on what others think of you, or on how much you've achieved. You realize that your happiness comes from within. It comes from knowing that you're doing the work. It comes from seeing progress even when it feels slow. It comes from knowing that every day you are showing up for yourself, and that is enough. As this transformation takes root, something even more profound begins to happen. You begin to inspire others. You begin to show them that it's possible to take control of your life, to transform your mindset, and to go after what you want. You become a living example of what it means to focus on yourself and trust the journey. Your confidence, your energy, your dedication becomes magnetic. People are drawn to your light, to your strength, to the way you've chosen to take responsibility for your life. And in doing so, you inspire them to take action in their own lives. When you focus on yourself, you stop settling for mediocrity. You stop accepting anything less than what you know you deserve. You stop allowing fear, doubt, and negativity to dictate your decisions. You learn to trust your instincts, to trust that you have everything inside you to create the life you desire. Your belief in yourself becomes so strong that it becomes impossible to ignore. And when that belief becomes a part of you, there's nothing that can stop you. The key is to keep going. Keep showing up for yourself, even when the path feels unclear. Keep believing, even when it feels like progress is slow. The moment you choose to focus on yourself is the moment you choose to make your dreams a reality. And once you make that choice, you become unstoppable. Your journey may not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. And as you keep moving forward, the world will begin to notice. Your transformation will become undeniable. People will see you not as the person you were, but as the person you are becoming. The person who has decided to focus on themselves, to invest in their own growth, and to create a life that is truly extraordinary. When you begin to truly focus on yourself, you stop seeing setbacks as failures. You stop allowing disappointments to define you. Instead, you see them for what they are: lessons. Every setback, every challenge, every obstacle becomes an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become stronger. You realize that every moment of struggle is not a sign that you're on the wrong path, but a sign that you're pushing through, evolving, and becoming more resilient. The path to success is never linear, And understanding this is liberating. It frees you from the need to be perfect, from the fear of making mistakes, and allows you to embrace the journey, no matter how bumpy it may get. As you move forward, you stop seeking approval from others and you begin to recognize your own value. You understand that your worth is not determined by external validation, but by the way you show up for yourself every single day. Your confidence no longer depends on what others think, but on the quiet, powerful belief that you are enough, just as you are. This is where true strength lies, not in the opinions of others, but in your unwavering belief in yourself. When you stop needing permission to be yourself, you become unstoppable. You also begin to realize that the people around you will change as you change. As you elevate your energy and mindset, you will attract those who resonate with the person you are becoming. To toxic relationships, the ones that drain your energy and hold you back, will begin to fade. You won't need to force them out of your life. They will naturally fall away, and in their place will come people who challenge you, support you, and encourage you to keep going. Your growth will start to inspire others to do the same, and the circle you create will lift everyone higher. The people you once looked to for validation will see you standing strong, and they'll be inspired to find that strength within themselves. This isn't about being arrogant or shutting others out. It's about recognizing your own value and surrounding yourself with people who reflect that same worth. When you focus on yourself, you stop settling for anything less than what you deserve, and you start building a life that is aligned with your deepest desires. You become intentional about the energy you allow into your space. You protect your peace and create boundaries that honor your growth. The more you focus on yourself, the more you realize that you don't need anyone else to complete you. You are already whole. The deeper you go into this journey, the clearer it becomes. Your success is inevitable. It's not a matter of if it will happen, but when. When you focus on your growth, when you commit to showing up for yourself, when you stop waiting for things to be perfect, success becomes a natural result. It may not come in the way you expect or on the timeline you imagine, but it will come. And when it does, it will be a reflection of all the work you've put in, of all the times you chose to show up, even when it was hard, even when you doubted yourself, even when the world seemed to tell you that you couldn't. And this success isn't just about material achievement. It's about the person you become along the way, the inner peace, the resilience, the strength, the courage. This is the real reward. When you focus on yourself, you begin to realize that the journey itself is the prize. The person you're becoming is the victory. And as you step into that person, you realize that you are capable of so much more than you ever imagined. Every day you spend focusing on your growth, you become more aligned with the life you were always meant to live. And with each passing moment, you get closer to shocking not only the world, but yourself at how far you've come. When you start to focus on yourself, you begin to understand a simple but powerful truth. The most important relationship you have is with yourself. How you treat yourself, how you speak to yourself, and how you view your own potential will determine everything in your life. The world around you will reflect back the energy you give to yourself. If you see yourself as capable, deserving, and worthy, that energy will ripple outward, drawing into opportunities, relationships, and experiences that align with that belief. If you see yourself as small, insignificant, or unworthy, the world will respond accordingly. But when you shift your focus, when you choose to pour your energy into nurturing and empowering yourself, everything changes. Self-focus is not selfish, it is necessary. When you invest in yourself, when you make your growth a priority, you unlock the ability to become the best version of who you are. This is not about achieving perfection, but about consistently improving and evolving. The more you focus on yourself, the more you realize that your potential is limitless. There is no goal too big, no dream too far-fetched, and no obstacle too great. Every challenge becomes something you can learn from, and every setback becomes fuel for your growth. You will begin to recognize your own power, the power to create, to change, and to build the life you desire. It won't always be easy, but nothing worth having ever is. There will be times when you feel like giving up, when doubt creeps in, and when the road ahead seems unclear. But in those moments, remember that the very act of focusing on yourself is an act of strength. Every small step you take, every effort you make to improve, is a step toward the life you've always dreamed of. The progress may be slow, but as long as you keep moving forward, you will get there. As you begin to believe in yourself, you will notice something incredible. The opinions of others will no longer hold the same weight. You will no longer look for validation or approval from the outside world. You won't need anyone else to tell you that you're on the right path because you will know it within yourself. Your confidence will come from the inside, from the deep, unwavering belief that you are worthy of success and that your dreams are within your reach. When you reach that place, you'll realize that nothing, no person, no situation can take that away from you. This is where true freedom lies, in the ability to trust yourself, to believe in yourself, and to take action based on that belief. No longer will you be paralyzed by the fear of failure or rejection. Instead, you will embrace every opportunity with open arms, knowing that each one brings you closer to your goals. And when you make the decision to live your life from this place of trust and self-belief, you will begin to see the world respond to you in ways you never imagined. People will start to notice the change in you. They'll see the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you take on challenges without hesitation. Your energy will shift. And because of that shift, you will inspire others to do the same. You'll show them that they too can break free from their own doubts and fears and step into their power. You'll become a beacon of possibility, showing others that transformation is not only possible, but inevitable when you focus on yourself. And this is where you start to shock the world, not with grand gestures or dramatic displays, but with the quiet, powerful transformation that happens when you focus on what truly matters: your own growth, your own strength, your own belief in yourself. The world will watch as you rise, as you step into the life you've always wanted, and as you become the person you were always meant to be. And they'll be amazed at the person you've become, not because of what you've done, but because of who you've chosen to be. When you start to believe in yourself, something extraordinary happens. You begin to see the world not as a place of limitations, but as a canvas full of endless possibilities. The walls you once saw as obstacles now become stepping stones. What seemed impossible before now feels within reach. This is the power of self-focus. It shifts your perspective, and when you change the way you see yourself, you change the way you see the world. Your confidence grows, and with it, your ability to face challenges head on. Every doubt that once held you back is replaced with a quiet, powerful certainty that you can handle whatever comes your way. This shift in mindset doesn't happen overnight, but every day you choose to focus on yourself, every day you show up for your growth, the clearer it becomes. You are capable of more than you ever thought. You stop waiting for external validation. You stop needing others to tell you that you're on the right path. You become the person who knows without a doubt that they are worthy of success, happiness, and fulfillment. And with that belief comes a powerful sense of freedom, no longer bound by fear, self-doubt, or the opinions of others. You become free to pursue your dreams with full force. And this freedom is what will truly shock the world around you. It's not about performing for an audience or seeking the approval of others. It's about being so aligned with your own truth, so deeply rooted in your own power, that you begin to radiate a confidence that others can't help but notice. Your energy shifts and people are drawn to it. They'll see you as someone who knows who they are, someone who has chosen to step into their full potential. And in doing so, you inspire others to do the same. You become a living example of what it means to focus on yourself and to live with intention. This is where real transformation begins. As you continue to invest in yourself, as you continue to take action, no matter how small, something even more powerful happens. Your self-image begins to shift. You no longer see yourself as someone who is waiting for permission, someone who is uncertain or unsure. You begin to see yourself as someone who is already capable, already powerful, already deserving of everything you desire. This shift in self-image is the key to unlocking everything you've been working for. When you start to see yourself as worthy, as capable, as unstoppable, the world starts to open up. Opportunities appear that you once thought were beyond your reach. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable become manageable. The impossible becomes possible. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. You've chosen to believe in yourself. And because of that, you've given yourself the power to create the life you've always wanted. And the more you commit to this journey of self-focus, the more you begin to see the results. They might start small, little wins here and there, moments of progress that reassure you you're on the right path. But as you continue, those small wins compound, and before you know it, you'll be looking back and seeing just how far you've come. The person you once were will seem like a distant memory because you will have evolved into someone new, someone who is no longer bound by the limitations they once believed in. This is your moment to step into the life you've always dreamed of, to stop waiting for the world to change and to start making the change yourself. When you focus on yourself, when you believe in your own potential, you unlock the power to create the life you were always meant to live. The world will be watching as you rise, but the most incredible part is this: you won't be doing it for them. You'll be doing it for yourself, and in doing so, you'll inspire the world to do the same. The shift starts within you, and the results will speak for themselves. You will shock everyone, but most importantly, you'll shock yourself. When you start to take ownership of your life, the world starts to move in your favor. Every step you take toward focusing on yourself is a step toward reclaiming your power. No longer will you feel like a passive observer in your own story. You become the author, the creator, the one in control. The moment you decide to focus on your growth, you begin to realize that everything you need to succeed is already within you. You have the strength, the resilience, and the intelligence to overcome any obstacle. All it takes is the commitment to show up for yourself every single day, no matter the challenges you face. The key here is consistency. It's not about making one big leap or taking one giant step. It's about the small, seemingly insignificant choices you make every day to invest in yourself. It's in the mornings when you choose to get up early and take care of your body. It's in the evenings when you read, learn, or work on your passions instead of letting distractions take over. It's in the moments when you choose to prioritize your mental health, your dreams, and your goals over the noise of the world around you. These small choices, compounded over time, create massive change. As you focus on your own growth, you will start to see the results of your efforts. The more you focus on improving yourself, the more the world begins to reflect that improvement. Doors will open that once seemed closed. Opportunities will come that you couldn't have imagined. Relationships will shift in ways that surprise you. And most importantly, you'll start to see yourself differently. You'll begin to understand that the only limits that exist are the ones you place on yourself. There will be moments, of course, when doubt tries to creep in. Times when you question whether it's all worth it, when the road ahead feels too long, when the weight of your goals seems too heavy. But those are the moments that matter most. Those are the moments that define you. It's in those moments that you choose to push through, to keep going, even when the world seems to be telling you to stop. It's in those moments that your true strength is revealed, because real growth happens not in the moments of comfort, but in the moments of challenge. It's in those times that you prove to yourself that you can do hard things, that you are stronger than you ever thought. Every time you push through a tough moment, you're building a foundation for the life you want to create. Each struggle becomes a stepping stone. Each obstacle becomes an opportunity to learn and grow. And eventually you'll look back and realize that the struggles were not roadblocks. They were the very things that made you who you are. Without them, you wouldn't have the resilience, the strength, or the determination you have today. They were the shaping forces of your transformation. The world around you will start to reflect this growth. You'll notice that the people who used to bring you down, the ones who doubted you or underestimated you, will no longer have the same power over you. Your energy, your self-assurance will make them question their own limits, and in turn, they'll begin to change as well. You won't need to prove anything to anyone. Your actions will speak for themselves. And when people start to see the change in you, when they see how far you've come, they won't be able to help but be amazed. They'll wonder how you did, how you became so strong, so focused, so confident. And the answer will be simple. You focus on yourself. As you continue down this path, the results will become undeniable. Success, happiness, peace. They will become natural outcomes of the work you've put in. But the most powerful part of it all is this. As you change, as you grow, you will discover a deeper version of yourself, one that is aligned with your true purpose, one that is living fully and authentically. And when you arrive at that place, you won't need to shock anyone anymore, because you will already have shocked yourself. You'll have become the person you always knew you could be. And that is the greatest victory of all. You have the power to change everything. Every day you make choices that shape the life you live. Every decision, whether big or small, is either bringing you closer to your dreams or taking you further from them. When you choose to focus on yourself, you are taking control of those choices. No longer will you let fear, doubt, or external opinions dictate your path. The moment you decide to take full ownership of your life, everything shifts. Your mindset shifts, your actions shift, the way you carry yourself, the way you move through the world shifts. And with that shift comes the ability to turn your dreams into reality. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter what you've been through or how many setbacks you face. What matters is what you choose to do next. Every step you take from this moment forward is a step toward the life you deserve. The power to create change, to transform your circumstances is already within you. It has always been within you. You've just been waiting for the right moment to realize it. That moment is now. You don't have to wait for everything to fall into place. You don't have to wait for the perfect time or the perfect circumstances. There will never be a perfect moment. The only thing you need to do is decide that you are worth the effort, worth the time, and worth the commitment. You need to decide that your dreams are worth fighting for and that you are capable of making them come true. This is where your true power lies. It's in the decision to focus on yourself, the decision to stop waiting for permission or validation from anyone else, the decision to trust that you have everything you need within you to succeed. The moment you make that decision, everything changes. The world begins to respond to you differently. Opportunities start showing up. People start noticing you. And most importantly, you start noticing yourself in a way you never had before. You begin to see your own worth, your own potential, your own ability to create the life you've always dreamed of. But here's the truth. The journey won't always be easy. There will be days when you feel tired, when you feel like giving up, when you wonder if it's all worth it. But in those moments, remember why you started. Remember that every sacrifice you make, every moment of discomfort is leading you towards something greater. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow, and every setback is a chance to come back stronger. The path to success is never linear, but every step you take, no matter how small, moves you closer to your goals. The key is to keep going, even when it feels hard, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Trust that every effort you put in is creating momentum. You will face challenges, no doubt, but you are not defined by the obstacles in your path. You are defined by how you respond to them. The person who chooses to rise, to keep moving forward, no matter the odds, that is the person who will succeed. That is the person who will achieve the impossible. So when you feel like quitting, when you feel like it's too hard, remind yourself of this. You are capable of more than you realize.